Importance of Guadalcanal.
Joint Chiefs, looking at a map shortly after the war started, saw the 17th Japanese Army moving down the Chinese coast, heading straight for Singapore, and the Imperial Army had swept across Formosa, Philippines, the Indies. It was down in the islands along the equator, and had already gotten to New Britain, was building a huge naval base at Rabaul, and the Joint Chiefs says, well, if they move over and get Guadalcanal and down a little further and get some more, they'll have us locked out of Australia. And if the Japanese ever get Australia with all the raw materials there and harness the nation, it'll be long and hard to ever whip them. So they called on everybody to see if they had somebody ready to go. The Army was busy getting ready to go to North Africa. They had all they could do. The 1st Marine Division was the closest thing ready, and the 7th Regiment was very close. So the 7th Regiment was picked, and we moved out of then called New River on ship the Norfolk and sailed on the 10th of April 1942. We were going through the canal, taking on water, when Doolittle hit Tokyo, and we couldn't figure that out. We thought we would go up the west coast to the U.S. and join the rest of the division, but we headed straight west. As a matter of fact, we went straight to Samoa as you could go and beat the Japanese there by a week or two and started building defenses. We had a few flyovers from Japanese planes looking us over, but never in a combat, but condition red a time or two. So that was why we had to move so fast, and the Joint Chiefs hit it right smack on the nose, because after the war, looking at the plans, after they built the airfield at Guadalcanal, they were going down and building an airfield at Samoa, and we would have had a tremendous time getting through to relieve Australia, which we had to do.
Very good, very important. Now, would you like to tell us what happened at Bloody Ridge Battle on October 24th and 25th?
October 24, 25 was the deciding battle for Guadalcanal. We were holding 2,500 yards, that is the 1st Battalion and the 2nd Battalion of the 7th Marine Regiment, between Tenaroo River and Alligator Creek. It was known as Sector 3. Along about the middle of October, General Vandegrift moved the 2nd Battalion, 7th, over on the Mechanical, because that's where he thought the strike would be. So we stretched our lines, one battalion, probably 750 men, to cover 2,500 yards. We opened up firing lanes, we did our FPLs, we robbed machine guns from down the plains, and we're ready as ready could be. It was a lesson from Flanders in World War I, and when they hit with 9,000 or 10,000 people, they were completely decimated. They just did not stop coming. They kept coming and piling up unbelievably, and then they would rest a little and come again. So the 24th and 25th of October cost them 3,500 dead in front of the 1st Battalion, 7th, 1,500 died, according to a Japanese admiral that I read after the war. And that was a tremendous blow against their effort.
Can you tell us what happened on Cape Gloucester when Captain Andrew Akak Haldane had you do a routine checkout of an abandoned Japanese bunker?
Well, first off, I want to say something for one of my friends. He wanted me to mention the fact that he was a big hero there. He got shot in the leg crossing Suicide Creek, so Haldane made him the company runner. But that was Jim Anderson. But anyway, we were moving up and getting ready to dig in for the night, so Akak asked me if I would go over and check out this pillbox. He wanted to use it as his CP for the night. So I get over there and I start in the pillbox. There's 3 Japanese in there, and I don't know whether they're dead or not. So I emptied my 8-round clip into the Japanese, and then as I started to step in the door, it blew up. Blew me back out. That was my first Purple Heart. When I come to, the corpsman was pulling the shrapnel out with the forceps. None of it was all superficial. None of it went in very far. I had a piece of my nose, a piece of my lip, 2 of my shoulder, and some of my legs. And he patched me up, and then we went on, and next day.
Can you describe the Japanese midnight bayonet charge in which K3 fought off waves and waves of Japanese soldiers?
We were going up on top of the Waltz Ridge, which the intelligence people had told us there was nothing up there. And being K Company had suffered a lot of wounds crossing Suicide Creek, we were going to go up with battalion headquarters and observe. And I&L Company was going to cut the government trail so 27 could attack Hill 660 and the Japanese couldn't reinforce it. We get almost to the top of the hill. Here's about 35 pillboxes and our trenches and everything, and the battalion CO and exec both got hit immediately. And so we couldn't get them to break, couldn't get the defenses broke open, and Buller came over, took over till Walt got there. And when Walt got there, he had him drag a 37 millimeter anti-tank gun up the hill, and we started firing it into the positions, and I guess that kind of teed them off. And so 1:15 in the morning, they came out with the bonsai charge. First one wasn't bad because we had ammo and we could knock it down. Second one, we could knock it down. Third one, we still had some ammo, we could knock it down. But the fourth one, almost everybody was out, so it became a little hand-to-hand. And a couple of them got real close to me, and I fed them the butt of my rifle, and of course the fiber in that rifle is too hard to chew, so they went down. But then the fifth one, when they came with the fifth one, we had got ammo, and so it wasn't hard to knock down. So they started out at 1:15 in the morning, and it was 6:15 when we got the last one knocked out. But after it was over, I seen blood, and I said, oh, hell, I did real good. See, well, I didn't realize it was my blood. I'd been stuck with the bayonet. So that was my second Purple Heart.
And also, we ended up with Richard down in Australia, so can you tell us about borrowing a fire truck down in Australia?
Bergie and I was out on Liberty together, and Bergie was drinking too much wine. And we got on the train to go into Melbourne, which was 46 kilometers away, and it kept sitting there. And so I went up to the station master and asked him what the problem was, and he said, well, the driver was into lunch. So when I came back, Bergie said, well, let's take this damn thing into town ourselves. See? So we get up in the cab, and we got the thing going, and we went back into our compartment, sat down. And this clickety-clickety down the track there, and pretty soon they cut the power. So I told him, I said, we better get off, because when this thing stops, there's going to be MPs all over, see? So we bailed off, and we walked about a mile, and we come up on a little village, and there was a fire station. The door was wide open, and nobody around. So Bergie gets in and cranks the fire engine up, and he said, let's take this into Melbourne. So we took the fire engine into Melbourne, and of course, him having too much to drink, he run into a bus. So we jumped off and run around the block, and I come back while I asked this Bobby, I said, what the heck happened here? And he said, oh, them bloody Yanks. And so we got away with a lot of stuff there.
Stolen fire truck story.